Let's turn to Russia's war on Ukraine now, which has entered its third month. The United States has announced another boost to funding to help Ukraine buy more weapons to fight the invasion. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and the Defense Secretary Lloyd visited Kyiv on Sunday. They pledged $700 million to other nations in Central and Eastern Europe as well to restock their weapons supplies. Meanwhile, people in Ukraine marked a sombre Orthodox Easter Sunday. President Volodymyr Zelenskyy used the religious holiday to urge people to turn their rage against Russia into a force to fight evil.
Orthodox Easter Sunday in Kyiv. President Volodymyr Zelenskyy recorded an Easter message from St. Sophia Cathedral. Our hearts are full of fierce anger. Our souls are filled with fierce hatred for the invaders and all that they have done. Don't let rage destroy us from within. Turn it into our accomplishments from the outside. Turn it into a good force to defeat the forces of evil. On a sunny spring day, worshippers attended Mass at St. Michael's Church in Kyiv. Some here now see a light at the end of the tunnel.
I'm worried about my country and my unborn child. I'm scared, but I believe we will be victorious. Our president is protecting us. He does the impossible, and so do the men and women of our armed forces. I believe in victory. That's why I'm staying in Ukraine with my baby.
The Easter service is happening as usual, but our country is at war, a war that has brought sorrow to every Ukrainian. We pray that the Lord gives us strength to handle these challenges with dignity. We are confident of victory. But for now, the situation on the ground remains much the same. A grinding fight for territory in the south and east. The fear that a missile might come crashing down anywhere in the country, and that the war is far from over.
Let's bring in DW correspondent Emmanuel Charles. She's in Lviv, in the western part of the country. Emma, what's the situation on the ground? This morning when we talked, you were in a bunker because there was an airstrike in Lviv?
Exactly, Gerard. In fact, airstrikes very regularly doesn't necessarily mean that they are followed by actual strikes, because sometimes those strikes are intercepted by the anti-missile system, but very regular alerts here. And this morning, strikes happened. There was a missile that was seen here in Lviv flying over the city. There's at least several ones which struck in the region. There's one which struck in Krasny on a railway infrastructure. There's also in the region of Vinnytsia, there's been 2 strikes in Koziatyń and Zmerienka. This is roughly, to give you an idea, between Lviv in the west and the capital, Kiev. There are reports of people dead there and people injured. There's also been 2 strikes in the Rivne region where no injuries have been reported so far. So as you can see, of course, war is raging in the eastern part of Ukraine mostly, but now the Russian strategy seems to really also have broadened all over the country. Russia has said that it would target Ukraine's military infrastructures, and it seems to put this to work at least this morning. We had another alert last night. This is a very regular occurrence here, and I think we're going to see more of that in the coming days, in the coming weeks.
Now let's turn to the political situation. In a press briefing at the Polish-Ukrainian border, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has just outlined that he is convinced of Ukraine's success. Let's have a quick listen.
Ukrainians are standing up, they're standing strong, and they're doing that with the support that we have coordinated from literally around the world. The strategy that we've put in place, massive support for Ukraine, massive pressure against Russia, solidarity with more than 30 countries engaged in these efforts, is having real results. And we're seeing that when it comes to Russia's war aims, Russia is failing, Ukraine is succeeding.
US Secretary of State Antony Blinken there. Emmanuel, we've seen a very optimistic Blinken there. Are Ukrainian officials as confident?
Ukrainian officials are happy that, following the words of Volodymyr Zelenskyy, the president, the Western allies of Ukraine have finally, he says, understood the needs of Ukraine. Antony Blinken also pledged $700 million of extra military aid for Ukraine. Half of it will be for Ukraine to buy the military weapons they need. The other half will be given to neighboring countries and NATO allies which have been given weapons to Ukraine to defend itself against the Russian aggression. So there's cautious optimism here in Ukraine, seeing that there's more and more support coming from the West.
DW correspondent Emmanuel Schaas there. Thank you.